Today on the workbench I've got a new project here. This is a Bachmann ALC42 Charger, and it is DCC. It's got the TCS wow sound in it, but I'm going to take this thing apart and I'm going to put an ESU V5 Loksound decoder in this. So there's no time like the present to start taking this apart, and I'm just kind of studying. It looks like we've got, clean the tip of that thing off. Looks like there's 4 screws. There's one here at the front, and then we've got a couple here in the rear. So let's go ahead, and this thing is detailed really nice. Now, be careful with this, because this is a brand new locomotive. And I'm not going to say that I'm doing this to upgrade it, I'm not doing it to upgrade the locomotive, because the way it sounds right out of the box, got an excellent sound to it. I'm just doing it because a lot of people like to modify their locomotives, and I'm one of those people that when I was a kid I liked to take everything apart. So, saying that, I'm taking everything apart. So it looks like this has 3 boards in it. Now, to disconnect that shell, we've got a little wiring harness right here that I will try to carefully pull apart. So there, that'll let me pull that off. I've got one little handrail that's popped off there, but that's no big deal to fix. So what I'm looking at, trying to look at, we have, that looks like a light board there for the rear lights. And everything does have resistors on that board. So don't think I'll have to fool with any resistors. Let's set that off to the side. Oh, this does come with a keep alive. I did have it running. It does run and sound really nice. That right there's a piece of cardboard or something. Yep, just a piece of cardstock with a print on it. Both sides. The speaker is down here in the fuel tank, so we're not going to fool with that. So now, what I think I'm going to do, or what I am going to do, is I'm going to pull this board off, and I'm going to put a decoder buddy in this thing. That way I can just use a 21 pin decoder. So, saying that, let's pull this decoder off. I'll get that unplugged. There's that. Then we can unplug that. So this little black wire, these two black wires are the speaker, and it is labeled on the board right there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it is labeled. So I'll set that off to the side, and then this plugs in from the decoder back to this board, and everything has resistors. Of course, this looks like it has our motor wiring and our right and left track pickups on it. Let me pull this board off. I want to see Yep, we've got two track pickups. So these are track pickups. I have a motor, two motor leads, and then two more track pickups. So that's easy. Now the one thing that I'm looking at here, and I'm not sure what it is right here, back in the back. I don't see any other lights. Let me pull this off. Yeah, it's not a lighting board or anything. Not sure what that is. We'll leave it loose there for now. Turn my soldering iron on here. So I guess, well, no guessing about it. Do they have that So they have that little board connected to these two. It says F4. Well, I may have to dig out the manual on this and see what F4 is. Because I do not Oh, they're the rear class lights. Okay, dummy. I see it there now. These are light pipes, I guess is what you'd want to call them. So that sits on there like that. Okay. Well, that makes me feel better. At least I know what it is now. So let's put this back. So yeah, this thing has front and rear class lights on it. And the front ones change from red to clear depending on the direction. So I want to try something here. Okay. Yep. Just wanted to make sure that that positive was actually positive, and it is. So let's go ahead, we'll jump right into this thing, and we'll start cutting some wires off. I'm not going to unsolder these things, but I am going to leave them just a little long. So there's that. So I'm going to flip this over here. I've disconnected one side of the motor, one track pickup. So the reason I'm going to leave this long is because these are clearly labeled on the back side of this board. F1, F3, F2, there's the forward light, and this is the positive, the blue positive. So and they're using, it looks like F3 for the rear light. But anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll continue to cut that off. I hope you could catch that. So you can clearly see how they're labeled right there. What do I got? There's another one. Track pickup. And it looks like we do have plenty of wire here. So we'll go ahead and cut these a little long. That way we'll know what is what. So let's see, how many functions do we have? Front light, rear class lights, front class lights. It's got ditch lights, and the class lights change. So there's 7, looks like there's 7 lighting functions here. So we'll use a Nixtrainz Decoder Buddy, and we can get all 7 of those on one of them. Alright, let me go get my Decoder Buddy, and I'll be back. So well, before I leave, I guess this is what it looks like completely, you know, with the boards off of it. And I tell everybody, don't let this stuff intimidate you. Oh, the other function it has is the sides are lit, so you can actually see in there too. Alright, I'm going to get a Decoder Buddy and a decoder, and then we'll start putting it all back together. Okay, we're back here. I've got a Nixtrainz Decoder Buddy that we're going to put in this thing, and I've been looking at this, and I believe it looks like I can take this decoder, the Decoder Buddy, and I can mount it right here, and that will let me fit my shell back on with no problem. So let's take and pull that off. I'm gonna get my, well, I'm gonna fill my alcohol jar back up, so that way I can clean off. Actually, well, no, I can fill it up, no big deal here. Yeah, we just put a little bit in it. This is just isopropyl alcohol. So I'm going to take and just clean the Decoder Buddy off, and then we'll move these wires out of the way. We'll just use some double-sided tape there. Put that back on. And we'll get out the tape. I need to order me some. I keep saying that. I need to order some more tape. I think in the last couple of videos I kept saying, you know, I'll order some tape. So there's one. And we'll put 2 on it. That off. Get that one off. All right. I'm just going to kind of center that in there. So that'll eliminate 2 boards. We'll eliminate this big board here that was in the back, and of course it'll eliminate the decoder that I'm throwing around. But before I do anything else, I want to take, just kind of pushing these wires down, which they won't stay down, but I'm going to put the shell back on this just to make sure that the shell will fit. Okay, looks like we have plenty of room. That'd be a good placement, so we don't have to worry about our shell. Just kind of looking over it. Okay, so we've got that mounted. Now we're ready to start wiring our decoder buddy in. So I'm going to start with the track pickups. They're always usually the easiest wires to identify. That, and we've got those two speaker wires that we can wrestle around there. So, turn on the soldering iron. So in this red and this black are track pickups. Of course, we have our two motor wires and then the speakers. So let's go ahead and I'm going to change that one out. That one, well, I'm going to have to change them both out because neither one are long enough to go back to the board there. Yep. Well, instead of fighting, so there's that out of the way. I am going to go ahead and put these track wires on. Track pickups. So what I did there, I put some flux on the pad that already has solder on it. So what I can do, there, now I have flux on my wire. A little dab of solder. So there's that track pickup. Now I'll do the same for this track pickup. Little flux on the wire. There's that track pickup. So now I'm going to go ahead and hook up this speaker, which you can see the speaker wires will go right here. Let's see, let's kind of bring you in a little bit. Cut that plug off. And strip those. Now once again, I'll put a little flux right there, just so I can get that touch that on there. So there's that one. Well, I'm struggling here. Well, since it's going to be like this, just connect that one up. Every time I grab that wire, I grab the one I didn't want. So, put a little more flux down there. There. Get the wire fluxed. And so I know sometimes this looks kind of painful, trying to grab this wire. But you got to realize some of this stuff I need to do with a magnifier, and I'm not using a magnifier. So okay, so there's the speakers. one set of track pickups hooked up. And I'm going to remove this track wire for a second and run those under there. Okay. There's that. Alright. So now I'm going to take and run these two track pickups from the rear. Put them in. And there's got a little hole down there. Which that's all well and good, but I don't know if I can get my wires stripped. I wonder if I can. So there's one. Okay. Yep, let's do this. Make that just a touch easier. Put the flux on the wire since I have limited space here. There we go. Now okay. Track pickups. All the track pickups are hooked up. So now we could actually test this to see if I have the, well, I don't have the motor hooked up yet, so I gotta get me some pieces of wire. Well, I'm having a hard time talking today. So track pickups and speaker. Now I gotta get wire for the motor. And of course I don't have any laying here on the bench. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do. So I've got some black and some red here. So I'm going to use black for one side, red for the other. turn that around. We'll have the wire pointing the right way. So there's that. We'll strip off a piece of red here. And I'll tin it. And then okay. Get out of the way. We'll strip these wires off. A bit of flux. There's that. And I'll tin this other one at the same time. Okay. So there's our motor wires. Motor wires, track pickups, and speaker. So now I'm going to try this thing out before I go any farther. So I will be back in a minute. Okay. So I tried the decoder. The decoder works. The direction of the motor is good. The sound works. And it does sound fine. So I'm going to pull the decoder off, set that aside, and now we can start with our off of that. Have a place to hold that right there. Go ahead and put that down through the hole. Same way with that positive wire. Go ahead and put some flux on that. I knew that was going to happen. So there. Okay. So we're back from our little break here. Now I did go ahead and I wanted to try something because it looks like the resistors on the factory board are like 500 ohms. These that are on the Decoder Buddy are 2200. So I wanted to go ahead and try one out. So I did hook up the positive, and well, actually, let's take a step back here. I extended the wires. I went ahead and extended the wires. I didn't figure you wanted to watch me cut, trim, or strip and flux and tin wires and put on heat shrink. So I did that with everything. So our blue is our positive for the lights. So it looks like there's only two positives for all these lights. And then this white wire is the headlight wire. So I wanted to try it and see how dim this would be. So anyway, that's where we're at. I did hook up the white and the blue, and that's fine. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hook these other three back up, or these other three up. So let's see. And the way I'm going to test that, let me turn my smart tweezers on. I'll strip a little bit of this off. Yeah, I've got plenty there. Let me strip a little more off. So I know that is a positive. Okay, this red is a ditch light. So I'm going to make it, I'll make it A2. So let me cut this down. Cut that down a little more. So put that in there. I need 3 hands here, so I'm trying to keep that in that hole. Which I can put underneath that. That's that one. Now what else do I have? This yellow. I'm going to test it. So I know that's a positive. Which one is it? Let me see what my black one is. For some reason, I couldn't get that yellow one to work. So black is the other ditch light. Okay, let's hook it up. I'm going to hook it up to A1. I might as well just leave that the length that it is. That way I could route all my wires. So there's my other ditch light. And this one I am still confused about as to why I could not get anything out of it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put it on A3 here. Trim this off just a touch. Okay. Aux 3. So now that is all of the lighting there in the locomotive on the base itself. Now there's still a couple in the shell. Come back from a break here. I'm going to take and test this and see if everything. I guess the next thing we need to do is the rear light. The rear light, the walkway lights that are in here, and the number boards. So they're all right here in this harness. And so the way I'm going to find that, I'll get out my set of smart tweezers here, and what we'll do is we'll take our plug, get this turned around here, and I'll just go through and kind of test what these are. Now I will tell you that I've cheated, and I do know what the walkway lights and the rear light are, but the number boards are really kind of messing with me. I may have to cut that wire and look. But so what I've got, let me zoom in here a little bit. So on these plugs, and I'm trying to move the light around to where maybe you can see this. You know, I can touch these little tabs in here. So I know that this first one right here is my positive wire, and that controls the positive for everything. So saying that, my positive side is this side of the tweezers right here. I'm going to put that in there, and then I'll go to this tab, and you can see that all four of those lights are flashing. So I know this is the positive, and this is the wire for all four flashing lights. Now, well, for the walkway lights, I've just got this thing set to flash. And then I also know that, of course, this is my positive, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but you can see that flash down there. That's my rear light. So there are a total of 6 wires in this crazy thing, but so far I've got 3 of them that I know what they are. So a positive, rear light, and then the light for the walkway lights. So now what I can't seem to find is my number boards. And I don't know if it's just because they're not very bright or what it is, but I've tried and tried, and of course maybe I haven't tried hard enough, but I don't want to have to take any more apart to get to. Of course there's one screw in there, and you know, maybe the bulb's bad. Of course, like I say, this is brand new, and I know that these 2 terminals right here are the number board wires. So but I can't even get them to work with that. But that is our lighting for right now. Turn this back on. And if I remember right, and I'm just touching these two in here. Of course, maybe they got resistors on them. Well, I know there's probably resistors on them. But I should be bypassing the resistors right there. It's not showing me a short on them. Let me turn my lights off and I'll try this. I'll be back. Okay, so what I've done, I pulled the screw out of the board here, and so this is This is my positive side. This is the negative side, and they do work. After I dimmed the lights, I could get it to flash so I could see it. So they do work. But what I found out, if you turn this board over, it gives you this little handy dandy diagram for what is what here. So here's your rear light. Here's the number boards. But it also tells you what these wires are. So we know that, let's see, this was my positive wire. The second one over is the rear lights. And so it actually works out that the third wire over is the function wire for the number boards. And then of course we have the one on the opposite end is the one for the lights on for the walkway. So now that I have that figured out, I can put this back together, and it does fit in there kind of snug. So let's see if I can get that laid back in there. Okay, put the screw back in it. So now that I know what's what, I can go through and start to solder this up. So I'll be back. Okay, we're back here, and I've went ahead, I've made up a couple of jumpers here, or extensions, I guess, if you want to call them. That way we can extend our wires out of this harness. I'm going to clean up my little puddle of rosin here, just so I don't stick anything in it. And I've got some heat shrink cut. So we figured out what our wiring was. Let's go ahead here. Take this first one. We know this is our positive wire. So there's that. Let me get this in here to hold it. Then I'll take our piece of, let's see, since that's our positive wire, I'm going to use the blue here. Heat shrink on that. So there's our positive wire. Now the opposite end was for the excuse me, the opposite end or opposite side here, this was for our walkway lights. So I need to strip another color wire here because I forgot to strip one for the rear headlight. So I'll get a piece of, let's see, what normally is yellow. I'll get a piece of yellow for that one, but first we're going to put this one in. So white will be the cab light. We'll make that one black since I've got a piece of black. Had it laying here in front of me. And I need to turn that around. So that's our extension for the walkway. Now the next one, I just want to make sure turn my smart tweezers on. This second one over. This one should be the rear light. Yep, rear light. So we'll get that piece fluxed. I need to cut a piece of yellow. That. Now I've got to dig my wire back out of there. Okay, here's that one. And now the cab lights on this were on this opposite end here. Strip that off. And I'll put my piece of white wire on that one. And I need another piece of heat shrink. So that is all of our wiring. I'll just have to connect those 4 up. Cut them all the same length. Now the one thing I am still confused about are these other 2 wires in this harness. Cut all these the same length. There we go. So I'm going to leave this harness for right now, just to make sure everything works, and then I'll get rid of it. But before we do that, we'll go ahead and start to hook this up. So we'll start with our positive wire. That's always an easy one that we know where it goes. So I'm going to put it right in there on our light board. Clean that off a little bit. Okay, so there's our positive. What did I do with I had a list of I had a list written down of what my functions were, and somehow I've lost it. but I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I'm going to get my yellow wire out. Get it untangled here. We'll get this stripped off. This is the rear light. Clean that off. And it goes in this front corner on the Decoder Buddy. And I need to trim that. Pull this to me some. Working kind of in a little bind here. That off. Move that stuff. Okay. Rear light. Now my black was for the walkway. And I'll put it up here on see, that's A6, I believe. Yeah. The light's reflecting. Sometimes it's hard to see. So there's that one. And now let's put in the number boards. And this should be the last piece of the puzzle here. And I did program the decoder. I used the ESU does have a file for this locomotive. And this is, let's see, this is number 10. Of course, I still need to put the power pack in this. And the other thing I'm going to put on it is one of the TVS resistors, or the transient voltage suppressor. Okay. So there's that. Now I'm going to test it and see what we have. Okay, so I tried this out. It does work, but the lights aren't bright enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this decoder. Do that first. So that's no big deal. That out of the way. Now, this is a good thing, one of the good things about the Decoder Buddy. So I've got all the lights hooked up here, because what I'm going to do is this Decoder Buddy has 2200 ohm 2200 ohm resistors in it. So with the 500 ohm resistors that are on there, especially on this board, it's not real bright. So I'm going to replace it. I've got another one here with 1000 ohm resistors on it. So that'll do us a better job. So I'm going to pull the light board off. So like I say, that's a handy feature. And what I'll end up doing is I'm going to take all my wiring off of this. Which that's no big deal. And I probably won't bore you with this, but I did want to show you what I'm going to do. So get that off of there. And of course the other thing I need to do is I want to put a TVS on it, transient voltage suppressor. So now, get some of that out of the way. Okay, so there's all that wiring taken off. So now I just got to lift the board up and put in the new decoder buddy. So I'm going to turn this off, I'll rewire everything, and then we'll be back. Okay, so I went ahead and put in the that little TVS diode there. So I put it on the back of the board, and I wanted to show you that before I actually put the board in. So, alright, and we'll back to the wiring at hand. Okay, we're back here. We're on to wiring up the power pack. And as you can see, I have put the power pack, I've taken the shrink wrap off of it and put it up front here. And kind of pulled the board out. It's running over top of the drive shaft. And I've got this double-sided taped, or taped with double-sided tape back in this corner. So what we're doing, we're getting ready to wire this up, and we're going to use our red wire is going to be our plus, and then we'll take our ground. I've got to cut it off. That'll be next. Put that X-Acto knife blade away. And I know I've got a mess of wires here, but we'll get that cleared up. So that's that one. So this is our ground. If I can there's our ground. Okay, so we've got our the power pack in, everything, you know, run over to the plus and the ground. Now I'm going to hook the white wire. I'm going to hook it up to pin number 1 on the decoder buddy. So right here in this top corner here. And that way it'll be on aux 10 for the control. And then you can change it in the settings on the decoder in the load programmer. So I'm going to have to use my magnifier for this. So I'm going to shut this off for a second, and then I'll be back. Okay, we've got this thing set up on the turntable. We've got the file loaded into it. Everything's complete. Now, the only thing I haven't done, I didn't change out the couplers. I'm going to put KD couplers on this, but I just didn't do them for now. So let's go ahead and fire this thing up and let it run through its startup sequence. So there's our bell and our horn. Of course, you can see the walkway light back there in the back. It came on automatically when I started it up. We'll turn the headlight on. We've got our ditch lights, and then we've got the number boards. And I think the way I've got this lit up, so there's off, there's on, you can just barely see them. Of course, like I say, that's the way I have it lit. So you can see them better here in person. But so it's got the, you know, flashing ditch lights. When I switch directions, of course we've got the flash lights that come on. When I've got it in the forward direction, the flash lights work in the rear. Had somebody comment there on one video, they wanted to see things run in step 1. So here is, this is step 1 for this locomotive. Of course, it's got plenty of momentum built into it. But that's speed step 1. You can see that walkway light. We'll stop that there. We'll take it back. So it does run nice and quiet. And really the only settings that I've changed is the volume setting, because it was rather loud and it made the speaker crackle just a little bit. So I changed that. But yeah, this project came out really well. Got the keep alive in it. It'll hold it for, I think, 4 or 5 seconds is what I timed it at. And you can set that down with CV113, so that's no big deal. But this turned out really well, I think, and it's a good runner. So I'll get the couplers changed out, and this one will be done. So thanks for watching.